For years ago, I still believed in loyalty. I believed that love meant sacrifice, that family came before everything else. I was married to Clarissa for 15 years. We didn't have a glamorous life, no luxury vacations, no mansion on the hill, but we had stability. I worked as a regional logistics manager for a supply chain company. Nothing flashy, but it paid the bills, gave us a roof over our heads, and afforded us the occasional weekend getaway. Clarissa worked part-time at a boutique. We were solid, or so I thought. When I met her, she already had a 3-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Chloe. Her biological father walked out before she was even born. I didn't hesitate. I stepped in without second thought. I changed her diapers, sat by her side through midnight fevers, clapped at her school plays, and even coached her little league soccer team when no one else would step up. I never once used the word stepdaughter. She was mine. At least, I believe she was. Fast forward to our 15th anniversary. I had planned a surprise dinner at the same restaurant where I proposed. I even picked out a necklace for Clarissa, nothing extravagant, just something thoughtful, something that meant something. I got home early, excited, ready to surprise her. When I walked to the front door, I heard her laughing in the bedroom. I assumed she was on the phone. I should have known better. I opened the door and there she was, lying in bed naked with a man who couldn't have been older than 25. I was 44 at the time. He looked like some lost college kid who had wandered into a life that didn't belong to him. Clarissa didn't panic. She didn't scream. She didn't even cover herself. She just looked at me and said, "I was going to tell you." I didn't speak. I turned, walked out the front door, sat in my car, and stared at the dashboard for hours. That kind of silence doesn't comfort you. It numbs you. The next day, Clarissa tried to spin it. She said our marriage had been dead for years, that I was emotionally unavailable. The usual script people reach for when they want to feel better about betraying someone who loved them. I stayed calm. I told her I'd be filing for divorce. No yelling, no drama, just done. Then came the twist. Chloe, now 18 and preparing for college, called me the day after I filed the papers. I expected tears, confusion, maybe just a shred of empathy. What I got was pure venom. "You're being selfish," she said. "You're tearing this family apart just because Mom made a mistake. I thought you loved us." Us. That word hit harder than anything else. I raised her like she was my own. I sacrificed for her like a father. And in the end, she chose blood over history without even asking me what happened. I didn't argue. I just said, "Good luck in college." Then I called my attorney. A week later, I signed away my parental rights. I wasn't her biological father, and they made it clear I wasn't part of their future. So I gave them exactly what they asked for. I moved out, rented a modest apartment downtown, started over. I joined a gym, lost 30 pounds, poured all my energy into myself for the first time in years. Eventually, I left my old job and landed a better one with a global shipping company. Nearly double my income. Life didn't instantly become easy, but it got better. It got peaceful. And peace, I learned, was priceless. 2 years passed. Then, almost the day, I got a message on LinkedIn of all places. It was Chloe. "Hey, I know a lot happened, but I was wondering if we could talk." I didn't respond at first. I just stared at the screen, unsure what to feel. Curiosity won in the end. I typed back, "What do you want to talk about?" She said she'd rather explain in person. Against every ounce of my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a downtown coffee shop. When I walked in, she stood up slowly, gave me a hesitant smile like a child who had broken something expensive. I sat down. She said, "Look, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything." I said nothing. I wanted her to talk. And she did. The man Clarissa left me for, his name was Brandon, turned out to be a con. He used her for money and a roof over his head. Cheated on her several times, even with a girl Chloe's age. He left 6 months after I did, and Clarissa unraveled. She lost her job, started drinking. Chloe had to work part-time just to keep the lights on while juggling school. Then she dropped the real reason she reached out. "I thought about reaching out sooner," she said. "I even called your number once, but I hung up. I didn't know how." She paused. Then came the twist in her voice. "I need help." There it was. "I'm behind on tuition. They're going to drop me if I don't pay the balance by the end of the month. And Mom's not in a position to help." I leaned back in my chair, studied her face. "You want me to pay your tuition?" I said, "after you told me I was selfish for walking away? After you cut me off like I never mattered?" Her eyes filled with tears. I was angry. I didn't understand. I nodded slowly. "You're right. You didn't. But now you do. And, unfortunately, lessons like this come with consequences." I stood up, left a $10 bill on the table for my coffee, then turned to her one last time. "I hope you finish school. I really do. But I won't be your backup plan. You made your choice. Now you live with it." 6 months passed. I hadn't heard from Chloe or Clarissa again. Through mutual friends, I learned that Clarissa moved in with her sister. Chloe dropped out of college and was working full-time, trying to keep herself afloat. I bought a small house near the lake. Met someone new. Someone who didn't see love as transactional. No baggage. No chaos. Just a grown woman who respected me for who I am. But apparently, walking away quietly wasn't something Clarissa or Chloe knew how to respect. 3 weeks after that coffee shop conversation, I got served. A thick envelope landed on my doorstep. Inside was a petition from Clarissa's attorney claiming that I had acted as a de facto parent and now had a moral obligation to help Chloe with her educational costs. They argued that because I raised her like my own for over a decade, I could be held financially responsible, even after signing away my parental rights. I stood in my kitchen and laughed. Not a chuckle, a full, aching laugh that bounced off the walls. But behind the laughter, rage boiled. These people discarded me, humiliated me. Chloe called me selfish for refusing to endure Clarissa's betrayal like a doormat. And now they wanted to weaponize the love I once had for a child who turned her back on me? No, I called my lawyer. A brilliant man. Sharp, cold where it mattered. He reviewed the petition, raised an eyebrow, and said, "They don't have a case, but if you want, we can hit back." So we did. My lawyer filed a counterclaim, demanding reimbursement for every dollar I spent raising Chloe. Private school tuition, medical expenses, extracurriculars. We tallied every receipt, every transfer, every check. The total came to $196,000. Petty? Maybe. Fair? Absolutely. What happened next was glorious. Clarissa tried to fight it, claimed it was child support, claimed it was a gift given out of love. But once the judge saw that I had voluntarily terminated my parental rights, and that neither she nor Chloe had objected, he dismissed their petition. But he didn't stop there. He scheduled a hearing for my reimbursement claim. Clarissa didn't show. Chloe did. On the stand, she tried to look innocent, claimed she was just a kid caught in the crossfire. "I didn't understand what was happening," she said. "I thought he was abandoning us." My lawyer asked calmly, "Did you ever once ask him why he filed for divorce?" She hesitated. "No." "Did you ever call him after he moved out?" "No." "Did you ever thank him for raising you?" Silence. He leaned forward. "So, if he wasn't your father when it came to love, why is he your father when it comes to money?" She looked down. No answer. The judge didn't grant the full reimbursement, but he did order Clarissa to repay $32,000 in misused funds from a college trust one had set up for Chloe, one they drained after the divorce without informing me. That trust was in my name. What they did danced on the edge of financial fraud. 2 days after the hearing, I got a knock at the door. It was Chloe. She looked different. No makeup, sweatpants, hair in a messy bun. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "I didn't know things would get this bad," she whispered. I said nothing. "My mom's been drinking a lot. She lost her job again. The apartment lease ends in 2 weeks. We have nowhere to go. I don't even care about school anymore. I feel like I lost everything. She broke down crying on my porch. I won't lie. There was a piece of me that wanted to pull her in. That same part of me that raised her, that forgave her, that loved her. But I remembered the day she called me selfish, the way she stared coldly at me in court, the silence after all I did. So I told her the truth. I was never the one who left, but I'm also not the one you need anymore. She begged me, can't you just help us get back on our feet? You have money now. You're doing well. Just alone. Please. I shook my head. I didn't walk away to punish you, Chloe. I walked away because you all showed me I was never really part of your family. And now, I'm protecting the peace I worked hard to build. Then softly, you need to protect your peace too. But that starts with taking responsibility. I handed her a card, a women's shelter and a local employment agency. Then I shut the door. Not in anger, not in cruelty, just finality. Clarissa filed for bankruptcy. Chloe dropped out of school. Last I heard, she's working at a diner across town and sleeping on a high school friend's couch. Brandon, the man Clarissa betrayed me for, was arrested for fraud last year. Funny how life eventually reveals who was real and who was just there for the ride. As for me, I married my fiancée last month. No chaos, no betrayal, just respect, trust, love that doesn't measure worth in dollars or sacrifice. She knows everything, every chapter of my past. And still, she chose me. Sometimes, the people you save will never remember your sacrifices, but eventually, they'll remember why you stopped saving them. And that's when the story truly ends.